What's up? My name is Knowles. This is the first time I've ever been to a Creative Mornings. I think I'm doing it wrong already, but let's just I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I'm originally from Maine. Anybody from Maine in here? What? No way! Just kidding. We talked earlier. That's never happened. I've never met somebody randomly from Maine when I went to any place. Yeah, my mom's from Quebec. She came to Maine. My dad's from Bahamas. I don't know why he came to Maine. And they made me. So, yeah, I'm a musician. I've been doing it professionally for the last 5 years. I write music for a record label. I produce my own stuff, produce stuff for other people. My wife is developing an app, and she wrapped me into that. And I've also gotten the TV and film. So, that being said, we're talking about commitment. 2 years ago, I would not be the person to be talking about it. I had big commitment issues. But talking about such a big subject like this, I like to break it down so it's a little bit simpler. So I'll be talking about 3 things that I do that help me be able to be more committed. But first, I need to see how committed y'all are. Has anyone played music? Anybody a musician here? Everybody. Okay, cool. Guitar? Okay. Piano? All right. I need somebody to come up that can play piano real quick. My man with the jazz shirt. Let's go! What's your name? Steve? Let's give it up for Steven right quick. Good, man. I don't know. I should have planned that. I'm just playing. Have you played in bands like your whole life type thing? Dope. Do you do any jazz or blues or anything like that?
Sure.
Cool. Do you want to do like a C major 7 to like a F major 7? Like slow? I think you should be on. My man. Cool. Just like a slow, yeah, and I'll just play some. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And right here.
There you go.
Hey, let's give it up for him. Thanks for coming through, Steve. I'll Venmo you $20 later. No, that's what's so cool about music. I've never met Steve, but he knows the language of music, and we could just make something together. What I really like about that, and leads very forcibly into my first subject, is it's not about making something happen, but being prepared when it does. Steven did not know he was going to come and do, just play some music today, but he spent his whole life doing music. Had he not, this would have been a really awkward interaction. And this is a lesson that I learned a couple times. So I want to talk a little bit about some things that I've been through that kind of emphasize this point. So in Provo, there's this venue called Velour. It's also the only venue in Provo. And they have this Battle of the Bands. And in Provo, it's really prestigious. Neon Trees won it, Imagine Dragons won it. This was 5 years ago. And all I cared about was just getting on stage. I didn't think about anything else. I'm yo, I gotta get on that stage, and then I'm Imagine Dragons. I'm gonna put out Radioactive 2. It's gonna be crazy. So I didn't really prepare much. I just, finessed it, talked to the right people, got on stage. I was not prepared at all. We were like a trio, bass, drum, guitar. The drummer asked before each song what tempo we were doing and what did the song sound like. The bass player started 2 of the songs in a different key. We were not ready. I was so hyped. I went and bought this amp. It was $500. It's totally unnecessary. There's 200 different sounds you can get out of it. It was alien landing setting on it that just makes it sound it's not necessary. Got on stage, lost to this indie folk band that was singing about being under a mountain, being raised by wolves and crying and stuff. So we ended up losing. Because all I wanted to do was make it happen. I just wanted to be on stage. But when I went out to LA, which is a story I'll tell in a second, I got some really cool advice from this guy. So over the next year, there was actually at the time another venue. I lied. It was Muse, and you know Muse? Yeah. So I got a band. I found some dudes that could play R&B and like funk and soul, which is the genres that I love to be in. Got a band, got a horn section. We played Muse Battle of Bands, smashed. I was like, yo, okay, cool, we're prepared. Let's try to do Velour next year. So for a whole year, like I was thinking about this and how I got to prepare. Every Monday night at 8, I practiced with the band. We had some people from Salt Lake come down. My little sister plays trumpet. She was in the band. Every single Monday, we were rehearsing until the show. Got to the show, slayed. We actually ended up winning. So for me, what this point is, I feel like, and I'll speak like personally from my experience, I get so caught up in being like, yo, I want to make this TV show and I want it on like Netflix. I want it on Hulu. But I've found it way more valuable to make sure that I'm prepared when an opportunity does come like that. So I went out to LA. I go out every month, and I went out to LA to meet with this guy. LA is so crazy. Period. Like that's. I met this guy. He was a part of the campaign with Notorious B.I.G. when like Juicy and Big Papa was coming out. Like he was a part of that whole thing. He's transitioned into like TV and film. He's doing some tech stuff. So I was going to LA. Money was real tight. I had just enough to get there, and I had a gig the next week, so I'd be able to pay stuff. So I was like, yo, I can get there. I'm gonna eat McDonald's fries, and then I'll be all right. So everything went wrong on this trip. Everything went wrong. I was supposed to meet with this producer, super dope. He's worked with like Ludacris, T.I., all these dope people, and he canceled on me last minute. And that was like one of the big reasons I went on this LA trip. I was like, all right, not cool. That's fine though. So I went to go see a buddy perform at Hotel Cafe in downtown LA, and I didn't realize how they try to get you parking-wise. They got signs that's like, yo, you can park here, but underneath is like, psych. And then under that's like, nah, just playing your Gucci, like it's fine. And it's like, except for like 5 to 7 p.m., you don't do it. It's like so many different things. You have to like read, like it leads you to another sign where you gotta read it. So I don't know, I just parked there. And then I came after the show and my car was towed. And I was like, that is not the jam. And so I have to call these numbers. They're giving me the runaround. I find where my car is at. It cost $300, and I had like $100 in my account. Less than that. And so I actually had to have a buddy send me money so I could go get my car. And he accidentally sent me $600, which I told him he sent me extra and I pay him back. But then I also had another bill come out, and then it drained my account. So I just had barely enough to get my car. And then also on the way there, or on the way back, I got a flat tire too. So if he had not sent me that extra $300, I would have been stuck right outside Vegas. Like not even in Vegas, just like outside Vegas. So everything was really, really crappy. I usually stay at my buddy's house. I had to sleep on the floor. It wasn't a big deal. But like with everything else, like it felt like a big deal. I was like sad, like crying, like I gotta sleep on the floor. Like, anyways. So the only thing I had with this trip was to meet with this dude and tell him about my show and like the app and the music that I was doing. That's all I had. He moved in from New York, and we were both staying at my buddy's house, and he was looking for an office space and like a place to live next week. So he had literally flown in the day before I got there. So we're staying in the same house. I'm like, yo, I gotta meet with this guy. I've been out here, like, I don't wanna go to waste. He's like, he's in the same house, bro, like, don't worry about it. So I waited downstairs, he was upstairs, he just didn't come downstairs. I went to go grab a bite, came back, and he was gone. And I was like, damn. And like, I didn't have his number either, so I didn't know how to get a hold of him. And so my buddy sent me his number. He's like, hey, I'm gone for the day, let's meet tomorrow. I was like, all right, cool. Like not pretending like I'm not about to like die and like be super, super sad if this doesn't go through. So then we're supposed to meet at like 10 a.m. and then he messages like, hey, let's reschedule. And this is the last day that I have to be in LA before I have to get back. And so I was like, all right, bet, like what time? He's like, oh, I'll let you know. So the next day I wake up at 5 o'clock and I'm on the couch downstairs and he's upstairs. And I sit on that couch for 8 hours until this man comes down the stairs. I don't know what he's doing for 8 hours upstairs. I don't know what's so cool about upstairs. He finally comes downstairs. He's like, all right, let's talk. Let me hear what you have to say. So we talk and everything, and then I was telling him about music. I was telling him about the app I'm working on. Telling him about my TV show, and I'm just telling him I'm trying to make all this stuff happen. And then he's like washing dishes, and he's like, it's not about like making it happen, just being prepared when it does. And he said that, and he was just like, I don't know, washing the oatmeal off his stuff. And I was just, but it hit me so hard. And when I pitched him on my TV show, he's like, oh, that's cool. Write a proposal and I'll send it to my investors. Just that sentence is like all I needed to be able to get through that trip. I went home, broke AF, but I was able to make that connection, and there's some progress with that. So for me, with being committed, I think it's more important to not worry about trying to make it happen, like be more focused on being prepared that when that situation arises, because I worked on my pitch for this TV show hella, I drove down to LA too, which I hate that drive. It's like 9 hours. The whole time I was just talking to myself, working on the pitch. And then when I pitched it, it came out so clean, like so good, so smooth. And he was like, great pitch, I spent hours and that I get 2 words, but that's all I needed. So just kind of like how Steven, he's been playing music his whole life, able to come up, slam it. I think that's kind of the same principle. We just need to focus on being prepared when the opportunity arises. Otherwise, we'll miss it, like the first time I played at Valor and did horrible. So, okay, the other thing I was thinking about with commitment is you need the right support, which now seems weirdly like a bra or like underwear campaign. It's not about that. That's so weird. I don't know why I didn't catch that before. Let's get some people up here. Who's never played piano? Who's bad at it? Okay, let's just grab some people. I'll make y'all sound good, I promise. You too. Do you want to do it? All you got to do is push a key. Let's give it up for him. Let's go. I need a couple more. Just stand up and come up. Main fam. You got me. All you got to look, this is all you're going to do. Thank you very much. I need some commitment, y'all. I need some commitment. One more person. You owe it. Okay, thank you. She went to one of my rival schools, and they're honestly the worst. So you owe me. Okay. Okay, cool. So let's just all come over here. You push this right here. Okay, push right here. Push right here. And you're going to push right here. Okay. Y'all ain't anything crazy on the piano, right? But okay, on the count of 3, y'all play it together. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Let me add another chord over here. Okay, so. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Right? See your face? You know what I mean? You can't play that chord without making that face. Ready? Try to do it with a straight face. Go ahead. It sounds worse. Okay, one more time with the best stank face. Oh man. Okay, cool. So check this. Here, I'm gonna have you play this note instead. Okay, ready, go. Still sounds cool, right? Okay, I'm gonna have you play this note. Oh no, you stay here, and then you come up here. Yeah, ready, go. Oh, some dissonance. That's cool. Okay, now go back to where you were originally. Yeah, you were, yeah. Okay, now you go ahead and play that note. Me? Yeah, Greeley from the school I hate. Yeah, right here. Ready? Play it. Kind of sounds a little weird, right? I kind of still vibe with it, but it sounds a little weird. Okay, cool. Let's finish on that note one more time right here. 1, 2, 3. Cool. All right, get up for him. Okay, so the idea behind this is that doesn't matter who you are, y'all don't know each other, but if you have the right group of people together, it can help you be committed to what you're trying to get through. So basically, you need to have a team, right? So they're playing this major 7, add 6 chord, but all that needs to happen is a couple people play a wrong note, and it sounds whack. I still kind of vibe with it though, but it sounds like whack. And what's cool is if everybody understands what's going on, they can change different parts of the chord structure and still make it cool. So the idea behind this is, for me, what I've learned is, especially in the beginning, starting off doing music, is I was like, yo, I can do this on my own. I'm committed, I work, I can do this. And that's not the case. And for me to be able to reach the things that I want to reach, in order to be able to be committed to them, I need to have a team around me that's the right support. I need to find something else to say other than that. So 4 years ago, I entered this competition, the Stadium of Fire competition. And previous years, they do a bracket, and it's like 16 musicians or bands that are all trying to open up for whoever's playing at Stadium of Fire. Stadium of Fire, I don't know if you guys are familiar, in Provo. There's a 4th of July festival, and they usually bring in like someone cool, Miley Cyrus. I'm just saying facts, but that's kind of funny. They brought in like, I think One Republic's coming, and the year that I was trying to get out, there was like Carrie Underwood, who wasn't really my lane, but it's Carrie Underwood. So I really wanted to open. The previous year, they had one bracket, 16 musicians all competing. It was like this social media thing, like you had to get your friends voting and everything like that. The year that I did it, it wasn't only that it went from 16, you are from Greeley, huh? Man, I was playing. Are you though? Are you? I'm just playing. So it went from a 16 bracket to a 32 bracket, but then they added an additional 3 other brackets. So it's like over 100 people all trying to compete for the spot. So you have to have your family, friends, all on social media trying to help and support you get through this. So there was this group that I was competing up against that was like, you know how they have like One Direction? It's like these just beautiful boys that just sing amazing and dance. They can't dance. They can't dance. But it was like one of these groups that like someone had like created in a laboratory for like all of these like preteen girls to fall in love with. So I was like competing up against them throughout most of the series, and it was kind of this funny thing between like real good music versus like, you know, viral like forced content. And one of the cooler things that happened in this is that not only my family and friends were like voting and trying to help me out and like local people, but people back home in Maine, not Greeley, people back home in Maine, this one kid, Tristan Libby, I met him in like 3rd grade, and then like he moved away. And then he messaged me, he's like, hey man, like, I hadn't talked to him since. He's like, I think you're doing great. Like, I'm here, I have my family like voting for you and supporting you and trying to get you on there. So I ended up winning that competition and was able to open up for Carrie Underwood, who slayed. It was crazy. But for me, I'd never, the opportunity to be on a stage in front of 60,000 people in a stadium was like the pinnacle of my life at that point. It was crazy. But what I loved even more than that was knowing that there were so many people that supported me to be able to, you know, get to that point. So you gotta have a team. You gotta have correct support. The reason why I chose right is, you know, with this example with the piano, if you're playing, cool, that sounds weird, playing the wrong chord, it's not gonna vibe, right? So I used to run with these, I went through a rapping phase, and I rap a little bit, but I'm just sticking with the pop melodies. But yeah, we had this rap group, and you know, we're all rapping. We had a singer doing our thing. We were like the only colored people in Provo, so everyone's like, "Yo, y'all so cool! Like, how do you do that?" Like, but it was real fun. But then eventually, one of the people in the group started doing some like sketchy stuff, and I wasn't about it, so I called him out. I was like, "Bro, like we can't be doing this. Like, I'm not about that." And he got so mad that I called him out on it that he made the other people in the group be like, "Yo, we can't mess with Mimi anymore." Like on some like third ground playground-ish. And so not only did they like isolate me and ostracize me, the guy that I had confronted about said problem started trying to like ruin parts of my career. So he'd go and tell people like things that I would do that I wouldn't do, like punching children, like random, not that, but like just random stuff. And like stuff where like I'd book a gig, they'd pay me a price or whatever, and then he'd come through, find out who was like organized the show, who was funding it. He'd come in, he'd be like, "Hey, I'll come do your show, but I'll do it at a lower price. Mimi's not that great, and like I'll bring more talent, you know, to the stage." And so people were, because he had some buzz, like people were like, "All right, cool, we'll do that." And so he's like undercutting me in like all these different spaces. And the only way that I could, and it kind of hurt too, because homie was like my friend, like he wasn't like the best rapper, and like I'd straight up like till 1 a.m. like help him like rap. And so it kind of hurt. And the only way that I could progress is just leave him alone. Like, stay away from him. People that he's rocking with, stay away from him. There's enough people in the world that I can find that support me. And that's what I meant by right support, because you can have some snakes in your group, and it can be very, very difficult to progress, especially if you're trying to be committed to what you're trying to get to. And this is funny. It's just because I'm salty. But like, now he's trying to like get back with me and like find out the people I'm working with and like try to hit them up. And they all know what he does, and they like stone cold him. Like the industry that I'm working with stone cold him. So don't turn on your friends because it hurts their feelings. And make sure you got the right support around you. The last thing, and this is like my favorite one, success isn't a destination but a journey. I'm working on this TV show called Journey to the League. So there's roughly like a little bit less than 1 billion unprofessional athletes in the world, whether it's soccer, baseball, whatever. People playing that aren't being paid like professionally. I love basketball. I'm from Maine. If you're from Maine, you basically just support anything that comes out of Boston. Boston Celtics are in the semifinals, so it's cool. About that is, sorry, I'm literally just thinking about Boston Celtics being in the semifinals, and I'm so happy. Let me honestly look at my notes because I got so distracted. Oh, Journey to the League. So there's, I was looking up and trying to find like as close, like accurate numbers as I could find, and there's roughly 400 million basketball players, unprofessional, in the world, competing for 360 slots in the NBA. So you have better odds of being dealt a royal flush in poker. You have better odds of having quadruplets twice. You have better odds in some cases like winning the lottery. And this documentary it follows these athletes, and it's almost like, what makes you think that you are able to defy all the odds? Like, what is it about them that makes them feel like they got this drive? Or what is it that drives them? What does it take for them to get to the league, and like what happens when they don't get to the league? And so it follows these we're going to go to Dominican Republic, follow some baseball players, Italy, Africa, follow some soccer players, Utah follows some, what's that game where they have like a ball and they're like hitting it in the wall like this? Racquetball? I'm just playing about racquetball. We're not going to do that sport. Just following these athletes and seeing what it is that like drives them. Because for anyone that's played a sport, like it takes a lot of like determination and drive to be able to excel. And sometimes when I talk about this, people are like, oh, it's going to be so sad. You're talking about all these people that failed. And failure is, I've been thinking about failure a lot, not with my Celtics, but like about the concept of failure and how we can like reframe that, right? So let me play something on the piano right quick. So with music, what feels good is when you return to your home. So this is our home. We're in F. We go away from it. It feels good when we come back. So I'm going to play through a couple different variations of chord progressions. I wrote some cheesy lyrics last night to it too. So I'll play 3 variations, and then if you guys want, you can talk about how I suck. I'm just playing. So let me just sing. Oh, that I ever want. Oh, that I ever need. I give you everything I have. But is it enough to keep you from walking away? 'Cause all I really want you to do is stay. Something like that. Okay, cool. Not the craziest lyrics or anything. Okay, so let me spice up the chords a little bit. Oh, that I ever want. Oh, that I ever need. Give you everything I have. But is it enough to keep you from walking away? Oh, 'cause all I want you to do is stay. Okay? Coolest stuff, like add some chords, add some like different voicings. And what's cool is that it's still the same fundamentals, but we're just adding some more like complexity to it. So this is my favorite chord progression. And also I'm keeping the same melody over it too. So Miles Davis would do this, he'd play one note and then let the chords change underneath it. And the complexity of the chord changes, he'd plan it out that his one note would work cool over all these chords. Just kind of cool thing. So here's the last one. Oh, all that I ever want, all that I ever need, give you everything I have. Is it enough to keep you from walking away? Oh, 'cause all I want you to do is stay. Cool, right? So the point I want to make about this is I feel like I fail when I wind up where I had already been, right? So like you try to apply for jobs, you keep getting the no, back at square one. I audition for Battle of the Bands, I fail, I'm at square one. But I want us to be able to, or I don't want to talk for y'all. I want to be able to change my mindset and what failure means to me. Because when we fail at something, or when you wind up where you were before, that's not necessarily failure, right? So, and the way I want to kind of like explain this is the opposite of failure is success, right? And so with these basketball players that are trying to get to the NBA, if they make it, they're successful, right? But if they don't make it, that means they're unsuccessful. Like all of this training, like what was it all for? And I don't think that's the case. So to try to explain this is, it's about the journey. Like that's where the success happens for me. It's not the fact that I wind up back home again. That's not the failure. The success is in the journey that we take there, okay? And we can take easy ways, or we can take the ways that might be a little bit harder, but offer like more. So, you know, we can play the song like this. Like, cool, we made it home. Like, what did we get out of that, you know? Versus, like, something like this. Right? The beauty for me isn't in the fact that we end back on the C chord. The beauty is what the way we got there, right? That's where we learn. So like me thinking I'm the best, about to do this Battle of the Bands. Oh crap, maybe I suck. Oh, well, it didn't go well, but you know, we'll get through it. Why'd I buy that amp? Things are looking up, I'm practicing, you know, and then, cool, I got in this other Battle of the Bands and everything's cool, I'm about to win. Oh crap, I lost, you know what I mean? Things are looking real bad. But what's cool is just 2 chords can get me home. Like, and I think when we're at our lowest points in whatever endeavor we're doing, realize that you're just a couple chords away from getting to where you want to get to. One of like the most dissonant chords in music is a diminished chord. It's pretty ugly, right? Like, car broke down, I burned the sausage, you know what I mean? Like, they don't like my TV show, or, you know, whatever. But I'm just 1 chord away from like resolution, right? So the idea is to be able to reframe what failure is. So you do something, you fail at it, don't think of it as you lost. You learned something. when I bought that $400 amp, I was like, this amp is not gonna bring me success. That's what I learned. I returned it, got my money back. I didn't need no alien landing guitar sounds, to be able to get to where I wanted to get to. So in summation, it's not so much about trying to make things happen as being prepared for when it does happen. This is when I won Battle of the Bands in 2014. That's my little sister in the front. I don't know why I specifically pointed her out, but that's her. If you guys are wondering about my family, there's the Grinch. This is when I opened up a Stadium of Fire, and that as big as many people are in that stadium, I had as many people there supporting me to be able to get me there, So you got to make sure you have the right support. And then it's not about, success isn't a destination, but it's a journey. And music has taken me a lot of places. Along the way, I've been able to have like one of the coolest, I don't want to say dopest. It's kind of weird to explain a kid as dope, but she really is. One of the most, it far surpasses anything like this, you know what I mean? Being able to have that, and that candidly wasn't planned, but it made me so much better. And yeah, I think the point is really revel in the journey, because as we get older in life, we won't be able to do some of the same things. We'll be able to do different things, but while we're here now, let's really make it happen. Morbidly, also this is kind of a pun, you'll see why. I live close to a morgue, and I see dead bodies being carted in and out. That's why it's morbidly punny. But for me, I'm like, that's gonna be me one day, We don't have a lot of time. A third of our life is spent sleeping. So make sure you have good beds as mattresses. But now is the time to make it happen, And as I feel like, at least for my life, you need to have commitment to whatever you love, whatever you're trying to accomplish. And to be able to do that, for me, what's helped is focusing on being prepared, realizing you need a team behind you, a good team that supports you, and realizing that success is a journey, not a destination. And that's it. Thank y'all. Am I still doing things? Am I supposed to ask questions?
Yes. Well, what we sometimes do is we ask kind of a rhetorical question to get the crowd talking from the inspiration from your talk on the topic of commitment.
Okay.
So is there a rhetorical question, or I could come up with one? Up to you.
Do you guys know any good seafood places in Utah?
No, that's
The answer's no.
Yeah.
I can't think of one really.
So,
is there any questions that you guys want to ask me? I'm sure I'm not probably supposed to say that.
That's fine.
Yes. What's your name?
Amber.
Amber.
Do you have any daily routines that you do, especially when you were starting out in your preparation?
Yeah. So especially when I started out. So when I was 15 when I got my first guitar. When I was 12, I really wanted a trumpet, but there's 10 kids in our family. We didn't have enough money for it. So I was like, crap, I'll just sing. And then eventually, my parents bought me a guitar. I never asked for it, but I couldn't put it down. So when I first got a guitar, it was probably 8 hours a day, pretty unhealthy. I'd fall asleep with my guitar. But now what I'm trying to do is wake up early enough so I have an hour of time to dedicate to my music. I've also started using Asana. I don't know, guys, if you ever used this app. It's like a task management app, and it's great. So now as I'm getting into different fields, with the app development and TV and scripting, stuff like that, I use Asana to make sure that I'm working on everything a little bit every day. So task management apps have helped me a lot, and then waking up early to work on my craft. What's that? Asana, A-S-A-N-A. Yeah, I should. Asana. I don't. They're probably watching.
So, anyway, So when thinking about commitment, the question we asked on the for the name tags and stuff was, is there a commitment that you cherish? I would even take that a step further and say, when you're thinking about commitment and your craft and what you do for a living and what you do to make money, what are the positive aspects of commitment that kind of keep you going, as opposed to the weight of commitment? Because sometimes commitment can be a weight. What are the aspects of commitment? We talked a lot about like how it inspires, but are there any other things in your day-to-day work life that commitment kind of, has positive aspects?
So my answer to that question was my commitment to just in general to each other. And that's something that I don't think is a weight, because when we realize that we're kind of like all in this together, we're the larger human organism or the larger sort of universal organism. When we have a commitment to each other, it's not a weight, it's a gift, and it's a pleasure. And when you do that, it seems to come back around as well. So the more I'm committed to being in this with everybody else, the more I find that I get the same response from others. And
you the right support. You the right support.
Anyone else? I find commitment drives me. I don't usually use the word commitment. I use the word loyalty a lot of the times, and I'm like very loyal to people, loyal to tasks, and I feel like that's a sort of commitment. And I don't find it a burden. I find it like a energizing force. And when I start to get lost, I go back to what my commitments are, what my loyalties are, and that's what kind of keeps me driving, even through those dark times. I loved the quote that you said, even in your like darkest time, you're only a couple chords away from home. I just think that's
I said that? That's a song. Nobody take that from me. That's a song.
Trademark.
So at our commitment event, we talked about commitment to self. So trusting yourself and the commitments you make to yourself when you say like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna practice, I'm gonna get better, I'm gonna win Battle of the Bands, and how important it is to really honor the commitments that you make just in your head that no one knows about, or maybe like your family knows about it, but like if you break it, it's not that big a deal to anybody else, but like it could be a huge deal to you. So that's
yeah. Thing that I do with commitment is like whenever I see success from commitment, I celebrate hard, like excessively so. Like I make like a peanut butter jelly sandwich. I'm like, yo, this was the slamminest sandwich you have ever made. Because as entrepreneurs, like there's so many things that are beating us down, like from all different angles. So you got to really celebrate your wins, even if they're super small. Yeah, I don't know why I said that. I wish I didn't.
There's this great self-help book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway.
Feel the fear and do it anyway.
And do it anyway. And in this book, she talks about many great things. And one of them is she gives this example of this scientist who's trying to get to this result, and he does it like 450 times, and it fails, and he does it again, and finally one day it works, and somebody comes to him and says, so how does it feel to have failed so many times? And he's like, I just found 450 ways for it to not work. There wasn't failure to me. It was just a different way of doing it. So I thought that was really good, and I'm probably not saying it right, but that book is excellent about like just committing to good things.
I have kids too, and so I think about commitment. I think about kids. It's like the deepest commitment I have. I'm sure you feel the same way. It's a commitment you
I'm just kidding.
consider like not keeping, right? And so I think thinking about those kind of commitments in our lives helps us to keep the commitments that maybe we don't always want to keep.
I like that. It like deepens your understanding of what commitment is and how deep it can be, and you can transfer that to other aspects. I just potty trained Quincy. That was the hardest thing I've ever done, and when I did it, I felt like how I felt when I was standing on that stage in front of 60,000 people. It was amazing. Let's see. Yeah. Maybe I'll play this on the piano. So this is a tube amp, and it's finicky. Hey, okay. There are some things that I'm not proud of. There are some things I don't say out loud, 'cause... Wait, that's not the chord progression. There are some things that I'm not proud of. There are some things I don't say out loud, 'cause I'm human and I make mistakes. I'm human and I tend to break. I still think I'm a good man, despite all the choices I've made, and I'm better than I was before. Better than I was before. Better than I was before. Now that I've let it all go. Better than I was before. Better than I was before. Better than I was before. Now that I let it all go. Better than I was before. And then all I wanna do is smile. I've been hiding it for a while, and I finally like who I'm turning out to be. I'm human and I make mistakes. Human and I tend to break. I still think I'm a good man, despite all the choices I've made. And I'm better than I was before. Better than I was before. Now that I've let it all go. Better than I was before. Better than I was before. Better than I was before. Now that I let it all go. Ooh. Oh. Thank you.